I love this. I love this clip. This is one of those like Donald Trump gets real honest moments. You know, it's like the one that I always think about is when he's talking about Putin with like Bill O'Reilly or some shit. And Bill O'Reilly's like, well, Putin's a pretty vicious guy. And this was when he was running for president in like 2015, 2016. And he goes, well, we're vicious too. We're not so good ourselves. It's kind of like that, right? So one of the metas right now is that the Republicans are mad about Donald Trump apparently being much more favorable to Chinese students coming to the United States of America. Okay, Ingram, I guess, still ended up defending Donald Trump regardless. But there's the H-1B visa clip that people are very pissed off about.
Going to be a country.
Let's take a look.
Like what we have right now.
And does that
the
mean,
Republicans have to talk about it, Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people
no,
here.
You don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talent.
American workers are stupid. They're dumb. They're lazy. They're stupid. Have you seen one of these beautiful Indians, Laura? They come in here, they work tirelessly. That's right. The white American, the Caucasian, has lazy blood. Won't work, can't do it. That's awesome. Which, by the way, you know, I don't give a shit one way or another. If these are roles that you cannot currently fill within the existing talent pool, why the fuck would I care if you hire the greatest talent that you possibly could from the international labor pool? I'm on board with that. People are people, okay? That's number one. Number two, if you actually want this system to not be abused, then you have to ensure wage parity and you have to protect these workers coming in from deportation. Because if you do that, then you are actually simply bringing people in with H-1B visas because they have a highly specialized labor that cannot be replicated in the domestic market. In the absence of that, which of course no Republican will ever do, for the record, obviously, but in the absence of that, yes, companies will continue abusing that structure to get more compliant employees that are fearful of deportation if they don't play ball, if they don't work long hours, right? They will never demand higher wages. They will never demand back pay. They will never make the same demands that the domestic labor force can make because they don't have that additional externality. They don't have that additional stressor. The domestic labor force is not in fear of fucking deportation. They're simply in fear of lack of health care, which is a really it's a really good motivator in the minds of the capital owners, right? You lose your job, you lose your health care, you're fucked. Or you can't make payments on your student loan debt. These are ways to make the domestic labor force more compliant with the exhaustive exploitative practices that capital owners implement in an effort to extract higher profit margins. But no amount of super profits is enough for our capital owners, and that's why they want more subservient laborers in these highly specialized fields in many instances, and that's how the H-1B visa is exploited.
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well, I'll give you an example. In Georgia.
Yeah. There is truth to what he's saying here, for the record. There is truth to what he's saying here because there is no infrastructure to fucking develop talent in this country. The only infrastructure to develop talent in this country still revolves around dumping $100,000 of or saddling every single potential laborer with $100,000 in student loan debt. Okay, it's much more efficient to get a ginormous to tap into a ginormous English-speaking labor pool with incredibly well-educated laborers waiting for the opportunity to become a part of the American labor force, okay? It's not that there aren't people who could work in these fields, for the record, in the United States of America? Of course there are. Because we're talking about like highly specialized fields. In that instance, yes, of course you need to rely on the international labor pool, especially in the absence of like there being like a farm program, a farming structure, or an educational structure that is constantly creating more and more domestic laborers that could take these take these jobs, take these roles. They're not interested in that because that requires investment, that requires long-term commitment, that requires educating the workforce, and it would also require the abolition of student loan debt in general. You know, we are just not going to do that. We're not going to do that at all. It's just not going to happen. So it's much easier to keep the structure up. But it is funny that he has to openly state this.
They raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated.
Yeah, all their lives, these guys from South Korea, they love making batteries. Laura, believe me, they love making the battery. I love batteries. I love batteries, Laura, believe me. And you know what? You know who loves batteries? South Korea. They make them.
And it's not an easy thing. It's very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in.
Who's they, motherfucker? It's your admin that did this. Like, that's the other thing. It's like, it's Stephen Miller, brother. That's your guy. Like, who is they? I'm sorry. I do not believe the American White House currently, the American federal government currently is this decentralized. Okay? I think he's just abdicating responsibility because he knows it was an incredibly stupid thing that he did. Because that was your ICE that conducted an operation in the facility, in the South Korean facility. Basically, a couple weeks after you had the South Korean leadership in the White House and you made them commit billions of dollars in IOUs to investing into, American development and American industry. And then 2 weeks later, it was such an insane thing when we covered it. Like, I couldn't believe it. It was like literally, I think it was like actually a week after Donald Trump had the Korean leadership. And then they went in and they chained these guys, right?
You're going to invest $10 billion to build a plant and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way. You're never going to be a country like what we have right now.
Trump really sat in front of a camera and called Americans too stupid to fill jobs, and we need H-1B visa applicants to fill them. If a Democrat has said it, it would be in ads for years that Democrats hate Americans. He's talking about the 8,500 Hyundai LG factory jobs in Georgia that are seemingly not happening because Trump's a moron who deported South Korean workers in the U.S. to stand up a battery factory. 200 workers are reportedly suing ICE. Yeah. Rare Trump L, brother. Why'd he say that? Yeah. What do you do in that situation if you're a Trump guy and you hear him saying that on Fox News? You go, yeah, that's right. I am stupid, my president. President Trump, you are right. I am stupid. Let me dial it back real quick. Number one, Chinese people are Ameribus, just like I am, right? They have great respect and reverence for America. Chinese foreign policy throughout history has always, gone back and forth, but usually aligned with the United States of America at times, right? And China has always looked to America as a prosperous nation, right? And there are a lot of aspects of like modern Chinese culture that is very American adjacent as well. Now, of course, they have a rich tradition, long history, Confucius principles, all that stuff. But like there is some American style attitudes, especially when it comes to like commodity consumption, right? Like this is unexpected in a place like China, or even a car reliant infrastructure in many ways as well. I've talked about this before. And because of that, there has always been great respect for sending your children to Western institutions, specifically the American Ivies. Okay? That's a huge thing in China. Being able to send your highly educated children to Harvard, especially, like the American Ivies especially, is a big deal, right? It's a sign of prestige. It's a sign that you have You've done, you've done it's a status symbol. You've done the ultimate thing, right? Having said that, these last couple of years have actually, from what I understand, kind of shifted the Chinese attitude towards the Ivies a little bit. Apparently, there was like a Chinese valedictorian or something like that gave a commencement speech at Harvard, and it was actually critically panned for the first time ever. What was supposed to be a moment of great respect, oh, look, a Chinese person is like speaking and delivering a commencement speech at Harvard, was apparently very critically panned by the Chinese. And part of that was because it came across as insincere, apparently. And the other reason is because the prestige of the Ivies, specifically even Harvard, the most significant one, right, is kind of going away, especially as Chinese institutes of higher learning are making waves, and they are becoming more influential, more prominent institutions of higher learning in the global stage. So, and I remember looking at the top 20 best universities around the planet, and like there is a lot of movement in the direction of China there, right? Like Chinese universities are becoming respectable institutions of higher learning, even by Western standards. Yeah, 8 out of the top 10 leading research institutions in the world are now Chinese, according to Nature.com, the 2025 Nature Index, the authoritative ranking on this. In 2020, just 5 years ago, 8 of the top 10 were Western. And now 8 of the top 10 research institutions are Chinese. Harvard is no longer in the top, the number 1 slot either. And if you look at the top 30, 19 of them are Chinese. Almost 2/3 of the top 30 research institutions in the world are Chinese. This attitude is shifting, and it's actually a threat to these American institutions in some ways. Not only because it diminishes their prestige in the global stage, and that's an important part of soft power in general. It also is consequential because the foreign students basically prop up these colleges. They are a fucking money faucet, okay? So when Donald Trump turns around and says, like, fuck these colleges. If you don't, sign a loyalty pledge to Israel, we're going to cut your funding. Oh, we don't want any more international students. Fuck you. When he says shit like that, he has to inevitably go back and take back those considerations, take back those words, because I assume he got numerous boss calls from very wealthy alumni from all over these elite Ivy League institutions that said, dude, what the fuck are you doing? One, this is a massively consequential brain drain method that we designed for decades that you're just casting aside. You're literally getting some of the smartest individuals that are the children of some of the wealthiest individuals all around the world to come here and try to work in America and play a formative role in our public research. Like, why the fuck would you personally destroy that system? And the other reason is that that's a major amount of funding that just goes away because foreign exchange students, like foreign students, pay double the price of admission. We have diamonds in the rough that nobody ever gave a shot, man. Brother, I understand, okay? I am an advocate for free college, okay? Not just K through 12. I'm an advocate for funding our education. Having said that, this is not even fucking fixing that at all. This doesn't touch that at all. As a matter of fact, this is the only appropriate solution that someone like Donald Trump will ever implement. Instead of actually building an infrastructure of education that taps into the existing talent pool in the United States of America, we just end up cutting off the other side of the equation for no reason. You can do both. You don't have to do the other thing. In any case, here's Donald Trump going back on that previous statement on Laura Ingraham.
As many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans
You would
of,
have the
fans of the United
historically,
States?
yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities would
So
go
we're
down the
dependent on
tubes.
China to keep our university system going?
But I think it's good to have, I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the world.
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our...
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal from us. By the way, I will remember what I told you about JD Vance when he said China is a backwater nation led by peasants a couple months ago? Remember when I said that will make waves in China? That did make waves in China. They were fucking pissed about that shit. So they do actually pay close attention to the xenophobic language. They do pay close attention to like this kind of racist nonsense. And it does piss them off. They're not the French. They're Chinese. They steal from us. Is fucking ridiculous, dude. It's just pure unfiltered racism. Let's see how Trump responds.
What, do you think the French are better?
Yeah.
I mean, really? I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology, where, you know, they put 25% taxes on American products. Look, assuming everyone treats us badly, because that's the way I am, but we take in trillions of dollars from students. You know, the students pay more than double when they come in from most foreign countries. I want to see our school system thrive, but at the same time, I know you and I disagree. We're never going to agree on it, but that's okay. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a...
I don't want them, Laura. I don't want them at all. The bullet pierced his ear, but he can still hear the voice of the party is right. By the way, I don't think a lot of Chinese people know that Donald Trump is the great nation state builder for China. I don't think they know that because I keep testing that out on unsuspecting Chinese people that I encounter around here, and they don't understand what I'm saying. Partially because they see a swagged out white boy and they just assume that I'm probably engaging in mockery, and I harbor anti-Chinese sentiment, which I do not. But yeah, they don't. I don't think it's as like big of a meme on the Chinese netizen side as I thought it was.